Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, we're going to talk about what to avoid if you are trying to reconcile an old relationship with a DAX. So, before I dive into this, we are doing our 90-day challenge round two beginning March 1st. You can jump in early and get organized. And you can check out the link in the description box below with our coupon code with you. It's all one word. It gives you access to everything you need to start the 90-day challenge. And in our first round, we had 96% of people who completed all of the things necessary for the challenge report becoming significantly more secure within that period. So that was exciting news from our end. And we have an amazing community in there and a lot of stuff that really works. So check it out. And let's talk about this specific topic. So one of the things that's most important when you are considering reconciling with an XDA is to realize that it is of the utmost importance, and this really goes for anybody trying to reconcile with any type of attachment style. It's basically a necessity to not repeat the same old patterns because it's like the definition of insanity, right? Like by repeating the same old patterns, you are going to get the same results. And so, how to reconcile with a DA, how to sort of like reconnect and things like that is a different topic. This was something that I was asked to cover by many, many people. And I do have videos about this on our personal development school channel. So you can check those out. But in terms of like when you're actually getting back into the relationship, not reaching out and kind of like building momentum and reconnecting, but as you're actually going through having the conversations, having the sit downs, having, the time together again, what do you do? Well, one of the most important things is going to be that you have a conversation about what went wrong and you straighten that conversation out by having a conversation about what both of you need this time around to not go back to repeating the same mistakes. So, some really good questions you can ask are number one, what needs were unmet for you that I didn't realize or understand? Okay. Now, as I'm saying this, please keep in mind this has to be a two-way conversation. This isn't like how to chase somebody and do all the work on your own. This is how to like lead the way because you're probably watching these videos and probably have more tools available to you than maybe the other person that you're trying to reconcile a relationship with does. But this is a two-way street, and that's going to bring me to my next point, which is literally as you go through this, and I'm going to come back and finish the question, so don't worry. But the second point you're going to see here is like you need to have boundaries and you need to make sure that you're showing up for yourself as well. This isn't just like a one-sided thing. This needs to be you doing this work and leading the way, but you also taking yourself into consideration, communicating, seeing your needs through, speaking up if something goes wrong. And I'll tell you why that's important in a moment. So, number one, questions you can ask: what needs do you want met that I didn't meet or didn't understand that you had the first time around? What are your biggest fears that you have in terms of entering back into a romantic dynamic? And how can we create a strategy so that we don't feel afraid? And again, this is a two-way conversation. So this means that you then say, okay, these are my biggest fears. And here are some strategies or tools that I would like to use to avoid going down a negative rabbit hole or returning back to old painful past patterns. Okay, things like that. So, needs, fears. What makes you feel the most loved and valued in a relationship? Because oftentimes people have this so far wrong in the romantic dynamics. I have seen so many couples who have been married for 10, 15, 20, 30 years and still don't know how one another really feels loved and valued and what their pain points are and what their love languages are, things like that. So it's a really important question, honestly, for everybody to ask their partner, irrespective of attachment style or how long you've been together, or whether this is an ex or somebody you're currently in a dynamic with. Very important discussions to have. And then what boundaries do you need that are important to the relationship, and why do you need them? And we ask the why because it's easy for somebody to say, let's say as a dismissive avoidant to say, well, I need space more often. I need like 3 nights a week to myself. And when there's no why, it's really easy for the anxious person or fearful avoidant or even for somebody secure to go, okay, well, You obviously don't value my time that much and you don't want to spend that much time with me. So it's easy for the mind to make assumptions and give meaning to the situation that then creates an invisible wall between you and that person, or it creates an internal feeling of turmoil or hurt. But if the dismissive avoidant says, I need that space because I don't know how to recharge around people. I only feel comfortable recharging on my own. And like that alone time to me is how I feel normal and balanced in my life. If you have a deeper understanding, it basically prevents you from giving so much meaning to the situation. And then again, that's a two-way conversation. Okay. And as you start opening up and having this dialogue, it's going to be extremely effective. And that brings me now to sort of rehashing or going a step further into the second point, which is that this has to be a two-way street in terms of both parties doing the work. So you can lead the way in the conversation. You can take yourself into consideration, communicate your needs, speak up all the way through, but the person has to be participating with you. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be that the person's like, sitting down doing workbooks in the PDS courses. It can be that they're willing to have the tougher conversations, to open up and be more vulnerable, to put more of an effort into like your love languages, whether it's quality time, words of affirmation, these sorts of things. And just to show up with consistency and better communication throughout the dynamic or course of a relationship. And if one person's leading the way with really good tools and another person's doing the work and participating in co-creating something healthier, then you will see results. And just remember, that's not going to guarantee that every relationship is perfect by any means. Like there's a lot more to having a really thriving relationship. And that includes things like reprogramming core wounds and knowing your personality needs and having boundaries and learning to meet your own needs. And there can be many layers to like how deep you go in the relationship to yourself and how that directly impacts your relationship to others. But you're a lot less likely to repeat the same old cycles and patterns of behavior that were once painful or created suffering in the dynamic if you open up by having these types of conversations, asking these questions, creating strategies, making a plan that you collectively work on together. And that will change the trajectory that you were once on. So hopefully that makes a whole lot of sense. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.